Welcome back again on the channel. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for tuning in, and if you're joining for the very first time, thank you as well for clicking on this video. Please don't make it your last time, so make sure that you smash the subscribe button and you turn your bell notification on. You guys, I was scrolling through TikTok when I came across this Black creator's video where she decided to send out a question to the Asian people. Now here is the thing, I wasn't able to get so much of Asian people to come in for this video, but I was able to get few people to come in and speak about this. So this lady basically made a video saying, why is it that Asian people do not like Black Americans? Like, what were they told growing up that makes them not like Black Americans? So being on the internet, you have seen conversation about how Asian people don't like Black people, they don't even like their business near them, you know, so many conversations like that. So this lady decided to throw out a question like, why don't you all like us? What were you told growing up that make you literally detest Black people so much? It seems like a tough conversation, but trust me, there is so much to learn from this as well. Let me just roll the clip of her video that started this entire conversation so we all can see where she's coming from.
Hey y'all, what's up? I got a question and I hope I end up on the wrong side of TikTok. I mean, I guess not really the wrong side, but a different side that's gonna give me the right answer. Asian Americans, why y'all don't like us for real? And no, it's not all of y'all, but it's a lot. You know, when they killed affirmative action, it was white Americans and Asian Americans on these apps celebrating and also complaining because they felt like there were too many African Americans getting into these Ivy League schools based off affirmative action when the majority minorities on these campuses be Asian and Asian Americans. Come on now, let's not play. And then I just saw this video where the American Alliance for Equality, that is anti-affirmative action, make it make sense, which is composed of white Americans and Asian Americans, is now actively trying to sue private companies that support like Black women in particular, which I find especially interesting, seeing as conservatives have historically fought for private companies to do what they want to do without government intervention or anybody telling them what to do with their money. And I could answer my own question with an analysis of the model minority complex and history tracking the relationships between Asian Americans and African Americans on the American history side. But I want to know, like, what goes on behind closed doors. Like, what did they tell y'all about us for y'all to dislike us so bad? We really be rocking with y'all, you know, complimenting you on your outfits, giving you props for your dance moves. I don't know, make sure the lights stay on at your mom and daddy laundromat, Chinese food shop, nail salon, if that's what your family own. I'm not saying that's all Asian people do, so don't get it twisted. I'm being for real. It's just a simple fact that they wouldn't let Asian Americans get business loans or properties in white neighborhoods and will only let y'all get business loans and properties in Black neighborhoods, so we're y'all only patrons. So yes, I'd be grateful if an Asian or Asian American could stitch this and tell us what they be telling y'all at home that make y'all not like us so bad. Thanks!
When she posted that video, I decided to go into the comment section to see if there are Asian people in the comment section, you know, replying to the video. Let's see what they are saying, why they don't like, you know, Black Americans or the things that they have been told. I came across comments of people way more interested to hear what the Asian people have to say because, like I said, this has been a topic that has been going on for a while now on how Asian people detest Black people so much. So I came across comments like, I would love to see it. I hope the algorithm brings it back. I decided to check if I'm going to come across any Asian people who stitched to that video and share their reasons. I came across these two TikTokers who made videos about it. Amy being number one, she has been talking about all of these things for the longest on TikTok. One of the Asian creators that I follow so much on TikTok because she shares nothing but fact. Let me roll the clip so that you guys can see what those people are saying as to what they are being told in their household about Black people.
Stitch this and tell us what they be telling y'all at home that make y'all not like us so bad.
So you already know a lot of what my content covers, like racial triangulation, the model minority myth, Asian businesses in Black neighborhoods, affirmative action, and so on. As for what I was told in the home behind closed doors when I was growing up, that's not the most fun trip down memory lane, but I always like to be honest about acknowledging anti-Blackness among Asian Americans, especially when the call was coming from my own house, so here we go. I first became aware of my mom's anti-Blackness when I started kindergarten, and it mostly centered around avoiding interactions with Black people and not allowing me to be exposed to anything that she considered Black culture. So if we were walking and she saw a Black person, she would pull me closer to her. If we were in the car in a parking lot and saw a Black person in the parking lot, she would make a point to lock the doors, and I wasn't allowed to listen to rap or Michael Jackson or Tina Turner. And she was hypocritical about that, because I wasn't allowed to listen to Cyndi Lauper or Madonna either. She would call it trash music and say that it was going to be a bad influence. But if it was a white artist, it was not racialized. It was only when it was Black artists that it was racialized. And another thing that I think is kind of typical is, as a musician, there were a lot of Black artists whom she respected and enjoyed, but she would always say that one Black artist is the exception, the rest are bad influences. When I went to school, if I came home and said I made a friend, her first question would be white or Black. And that drove me nuts, because in preschool I dealt with a lot of bullying and discrimination because of being Asian, so it didn't make sense to me that she wanted me to turn around and do that very same thing to my Black classmates whom she knew nothing about on the basis of their skin color. And when I wouldn't stay away from my Black friends, she would resort to making up justifications as to why it was harmful for me. She would say they're going to hurt me and they're going to be a bad influence because they fight and they swear and they're not good students. And of course, none of that was true. And in my household, it was not physically or emotionally safe to voice your opinions, but about that I would, because it literally angered me. And then she would resort to physical violence. And that sealed the deal in my mind that prejudice is purely irrational, because none of her claims had any basis in reality, and that's why she had to resort to physical force. Unfortunately, I think that when parents resort to intimidation and violence to instill prejudice in their children, a lot of times it works. But I was very lucky, because the principal of my elementary school was a Black woman who implemented a program called Students Educating Each Other About Discrimination. And that wasn't centered on racial discrimination, it was about discrimination in general. But in that program, we learned to have discussions about discrimination and to identify it and disrupt it. Which at that age just means if you witness discrimination, say it's discrimination and articulate how you know that it's discrimination. So from learning that very powerful tool at school, I was able to identify that what my mom was doing at home was wrong. Additionally, the principal was a Black woman, so I had a Black woman in a position of leadership as a role model. And in my school district, she wasn't a token. They really valued Black leadership, from teachers to administration, guidance counselors, all the way up to superintendents. And so I was surrounded by Black role models who made me see that reality did not line up with what my mom was trying to teach me. The straw that broke the camel's back was sometime around the ages of between 7 and 9. I was planning a birthday party, and I told my mom that I want to invite my friend Keisha, which I knew was going to be an issue, but I thought I would try. And she said no, and I said fine, then I don't want to have a birthday party, and she made me have the birthday party. So now that felt like that's not only cruel to me, but that's cruel to my friend Keisha, whom you don't even know because you refused to meet her. Shortly after that, we were walking in the mall, and my mom did this thing that she often did, which is she sees Black people minding their own business, and under her breath she mumbles a derogatory term in Chinese for Black people. And I remember I pulled back on her hand and faced her, and I said, "They are not doing anything. You don't know them. The next time you do that, I am going to go up to them and I'm going to tell them what you said." And believe it or not, the fear of exposure by me actually made her tone it down, and she stopped doing that in public. Fortunately, my mom did not live and die that way. In later years, she came around to seeing and later openly admitting how wrong she was. In her older age, one of her best friends really was Black, and my mom admitted to her friend what her previous attitudes had been and why. And from those conversations, I was able to gain some insight as to what my mom's motivation was for her anti-Blackness. Because I think most people feel, since Asian Americans also are harmed by white supremacy, how does it make any sense for Asian Americans to be anti-Black? My mom spent most of her young life in Hong Kong when it was under British occupation, and then in the 1950s, she came to the United States when she was 16 years old. Generations before my mom, her family had been living in and doing business around Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Macau, which were French, British, and Portuguese occupied areas. So she was heavily indoctrinated into anti-Blackness in Hong Kong, where she had no exposure to Black people that would have shown her a different reality. And furthermore, what she was indoctrinated into is the idea that an Asian can elevate their status in white spaces by aligning with white supremacy, which includes aligning with anti-Blackness. So I think what my mom was doing with me is that from a young age, she saw that I was having a hard time as an Asian American assimilating, so she felt that if I associated with Black classmates, that would make assimilating into white spaces even harder, and she was concerned that associating with Black classmates would negatively impact my status in white spaces. Well, we all know with me that the outcome was I understand very clearly what spaces I want to be part of and what spaces I don't. So my mom was really proud that she was westernized. She was proud that she spoke English without an accent, that she was very well versed in European culture, and she actually looked down upon my dad for being what she called traditional and therefore backwards. Right, so where was my dad in all of this? My dad grew up in Taiwan, where he had no exposure to Black people, but he also had very little exposure to Western media. I think when he came to the United States, he was a bit uncertain around Black people because of the lack of familiarity and the slight media bias, but it only took a very little being around Black people to see that prejudice is irrational and that it serves a white supremacist agenda that he doesn't want to uphold. As I said before, in my household, it wasn't physically or emotionally safe to voice opinions that differed from my mom, so I do understand why my dad didn't speak up when my mom was being anti-Black. He had a hard enough time keeping my brother and I safe. However, what he would do is, when it was just my dad and I, he would make sure to teach me or give me resources about accurate Black history. So, for example, a lot of my mom's rhetoric surrounded musicians, so my dad would teach me about Berry Gordy, Chuck Berry, Marian Anderson, Jesse Norman. If the claim was that Black people don't value education, he would tell me about Black scholars, academics, and scientists, and so on. So that, in a nutshell, is what I was told at home behind closed doors when I was growing up.
Like what goes on behind closed doors? Like, what did they tell y'all about us for y'all to dislike us so bad?
Hey, listen, I can only speak for myself, but I don't hate you guys. I get what you're saying, cause yeah, I've seen a lot of times where Asians were being racist to Black people. Now, when it comes to my parents, they've always been welcoming to Black people, but it's also kind of complicated. My dad's side of the family has dark skin, right? So while I came out light, my brother came out dark, and he's getting all the jokes. I have a theory that this is because I think my parents see Black people as default Americans. So while it's okay to welcome them into the home and befriend them in an attempt to assimilate and fit in, they'll just save all the dark-skinned jokes for my family instead. Now, although my parents were welcoming and accepting to Black people, they never taught me anything about systemic racism or prejudice or anything like that. Obviously, they aren't going to know anything about that if they were making dark-skinned jokes. Like, that's all stuff I had to learn by myself. Growing up, I listened to rap and watched Black TV, but I knew right away that I was enjoying this as a fan, so I knew I had to treat the art with respect. I guess some examples of this are to always give credit, don't intrude on their space, and make sure to not say anything that would dehumanize the rappers, singers, actors, everyone involved in their craft. Like, my level of support and respect carries on today, even with more serious issues too. Voted yes for Prop 16 in California in 2020 because, as a first-gen Asian, affirmative action helps me too, so I get it. And I also get the disappointment when I've seen it fail because it felt like I got double-crossed by my own people. Anyway, I hope this woman could give some of us the benefit of the doubt. Asian Americans are a really diverse group with a lot of different opinions. Some of them are ignorant, racist, and closed-minded, and some of them are welcoming, respectful, and open-minded. It all depends on who you talk to, I guess. Only thing I can do for myself really is to keep in mind that it's all about the respect first and foremost. My parents stopped making dark-skinned jokes years ago anyway, so, you know, progress.
What do you guys think about what they all said? Imagine the black brother to the second Stitch that said he was black, and then he was the one who got all the jokes about black people. And you guys know the jokes are not actually jokes. He might be traumatized by that till date. You never can tell. And he mentioned something. He said his parents basically see black people as the default Americans, and it made a lot of sense. What these people literally said is almost the same thing that even black Americans, or that I've had so many black Americans said about the reason why Asian people don't like black people. It's basically their proximity to whiteness. Since they see them as a default American, they feel like, okay, if you associate yourself with black people, that might a bit dent some opportunities that you might want to get with these white people. Like, they want to always appeal to the white people and let them know that we know you guys don't like this black people, we don't like them as well, so that, you know, they can get so much attention and benefit from these people. So colorism, and I think a lot of black Americans have talked about it because I have come across so many videos when conversations about how Asian people are racist come up on TikTok. Hear your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you think about what they all said. I love the fact that this lady threw out that question, because you can tell that this all started from the household that they probably grew up in. Because majority of the time, what you're taught as a child or what you see the people around you do or say as a child growing up will influence who you become as well as you grow. So I love the fact that she put out this question. It might be a tough conversation for them, but yes, there are so many people in the comment section also interested to know why these Asian people do not like black people. And if you're an Asian person watching this video right now, you might as well let us know in the comment section. What were you told in your household about black people, and how has that influenced the way you communicate, you relate with black people in the world today? The world is literally, you know, changing. Things are changing. People are waking up. Social media has helped a lot of us wake up. All of the things I know today about American history were things that I learned online. So I feel like if you're intentional about knowing things in the world, there are so many informations online, and this is one thing, or one of the reasons why I have never regretted downloading TikTok, because people come on there like naked. They come there like being free and just say it the way it is. And let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Black people as well came in on this video. It's so funny that there are so many black people stitching to this particular video, but I don't want to mix it up. I don't want to make it too long, which means that I am going to be posting the black people response to this particular video that this lady made, because a lot of black people as well have so many things to add what this black lady said, and as well, you know, sharing their experience with some Asian people and what they feel or what they think might have influenced how these Asian people interact with them. Let me hear your thoughts. Share your thoughts in the comment section. I am going to stop here, but I would like us to continue this conversation in the comment section. Thank you all so much for joining. Please, before you go, make sure you smash the subscribe button and make sure you turn your bell notification on as well. And I am going to talk to you guys in the next one. Bye guys, and I love you all.